Yo, Neek, you know what Billy Tubbs once said when he was asked about his offense?
What's that?
He said, "We're going to keep it real simple this year, fellas. I plan on this year we're just going to run and shoot. Next year, I hope we plan on leveling up and running and scoring." What's up, y'all? We are the Hoop Storians. That is unique. I am Tony Styles. It is March 20th, 2024. Let's get into this day in NBA history. This day in NBA history, March 20th, 2020, Jerry Sloan of the Utah Jazz's coaching pantheon died at 78. He spent 23 seasons coaching the Jazz, and they finished below 500 in only one of those years. He won 1,221 games in his career, which was the fourth highest total at the time of his passing. He also has his jersey retired in Chicago. He played from them from 66 to 76. Neek, what are your thoughts on Jerry Sloan as a player, and what are your thoughts on as a coach, and where would you rank him in the greatest coach of all time discussion?
Uh, well, as far as ranking him as a player, I wouldn't know where to start with him as a player. To be honest, I don't know much about him as a player, but as a coach, though, he was a great coach. In my opinion, I know a lot argue that Karl Malone wasn't that great as far as not being able to get to the, I guess,
Carl
surpass the
Malone.
goal.
Carl
Hmm?
Malone was great for the first 46 minutes of a game.
Yeah, and it's like people feel as though he chokes or he gives up or whatever the case may be. He's known, like you said, the first however many minutes he's gonna give it to you. But once we get down to the last 3, 4 minutes, no, he's not there. He doesn't show up. So the point that I was making though is Jerry Sloan though. I can't take away from him as a coach though, just because they didn't actually win the championship because we're seeing him go up against one of the greatest teams that's ever existed. As far as dynasty wise go, we're also seeing him coach the talent that he had, what he was able to do with Stockton and Malone. So I look at him like he was an amazing coach during the span that he had players like them.
So would you have him as a top 10 all time coach, top five? Where do you got him at?
I don't have him in my top five, but yeah, I could see him in the top 10 though.
Gotcha. Well, that was this day in NBA history. All right, hey, I got a question for you. I was thinking about this before we went on, and I was waiting till we went on to ask you about it. Do you think if we had a team of nothing but the oldest players in the league right now, they could win a title?
The oldest
So I
players
pulled up
currently in the league.
currently. So if we had LeBron James, PJ Tucker, Chris Paul, Taj Gibson, Kyle Lowry, Garrett Temple, Al Horford, Jeff Green, Wesley Matthews, Danny Green, Joe Ingles, Mike Conley. Do you, how far do you think that team gets?
That team could get to the playoffs, and that's a whole lot of experience. So they could obviously get deep in the playoffs just based on the experience alone. And then you got LeBron, arguably the greatest ever. So you have that power. But just thinking about it, like some of these dudes are powerful men, like a PJ Tucker, he's a lockdown defender. Even Al, you said Al Horford, right?
Yeah, Al Horford.
Did you say Al? All
Yeah,
right,
Al
so
Horford.
Al Horford, one of you know what he can do. Al Horford, he's gonna get you some defense, some buckets, stuff like that, some boards. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a lot of experience, so they're gonna go far with experience alone. But I don't know if they have enough offensive power to actually win a championship. I think they have enough to make it maybe definitely semifinals, but I don't know Eastern Conference or I don't know about conference finals, but maybe. I mean, it
So
is
so second
LeBron.
round.
Definitely second round. I wouldn't be surprised that they made it to third, but I don't see them winning the championship.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I would see them somewhere anywhere in the 35 to 50 game range
Oh,
wins.
you think they getting smoked?
Well, I mean, I could see a scenario where they don't make the playoffs. So yeah, I could see a 35 win season. I could see a 50 win season. That's about as high as I could see them. I could see them somehow getting all the way to the Western Conference Finals would be about as high as I could see them getting. And obviously at 35 and 47, I could see them not making the playoffs at all.
Fair.
So,
Yeah.
because when you think about like Lowry, he looked awful on the Heat. Chris Paul's looked old since he's came back. PJ Tucker ain't even playing. Al Horford can't play back to backs. I don't think I've seen Wesley Matthews play this year. Joe Ingles barely plays. Mike Conley, he's not the same. Danny
Mm,
Green, he barely plays. And I
yeah.
didn't even realize Garrett Temple was that old.
How old is old these days in the NBA? What, 36?
Well, I don't know. Well, I mean, yeah, the top 12 guys, they're all 36 and up. 10, 11, 87 would be Mike Conley, and that'd be the youngest guy on the list. So I
Dang.
don't know. I don't know how old is, but we definitely have that. So let's get into the great. Here's what we got. We got one guy, just to let you know. One guy said playing at best. He thinks what they could get, and Woodage 84 thinks they could win the title with all that experience. I'm not all that. And shout out to Killer Cam. What's good? What's good, Killer Cam?
Hello?
So, anyways, is there anybody you want to do a honorable mention before we get to your top 10? And then I'll have you rank them where you got them. Then I'll tell you if I have that player too and where I got them at. And then whichever ones that I have that you don't, I'll tell them at the end. Say them at the end.
Yeah.
So you got any honorable mentions?
Um, yeah. I gotta look up his exact numbers, but one of my honorable mentions will be Dennis Rodman.
He made my
Um,
list.
he made your list.
He made my
Okay, for
list.
sure. Well, without the numbers, let me just run it. With Dennis Rodman, what you're getting is somebody that's willing to sacrifice their body every
Hmm.
play. Dennis Rodman, what he averaged, what 15 rebounds his whole career, the game, something about that. Anyway, so you got Dennis Rodman, who, like I said, is sacrificing his body every play to get the rebound. He took it on as a personal challenge. He's a champion. He's not really an all-star for the majority of his career, but at the same time, he's all-star
That's really
potential
more.
with.
That's really more a personality thing. Like as far as like all MBAs and all that, they didn't like his. We'll say shenanigans. We'll use that word. Because I think he really is like a he's probably like a seven-time All-Star, really, seven-time
Should
All
have
NBA,
been. Yeah.
like All NBA third team and stuff like that. I'm not saying that, but yeah, he made number 10 for me. He's a two-time Defensive Player of the Year, uh, seven-time All Defensive Team, five titles. Wherever he went, they just won. Even San Antonio, they set their record for 62 wins, conference finals. That's as far as they had been up until they got Tim Duncan. Um, Jordan, they lost that series in 95. They get Rodman. He helps gel it. Even the last two, where he's really not playing as much, he's still
Mhm.
vital. He really could D up 1 through 5. I've never seen somebody with such bounce when they run. He was like Pepe Le Pew when he ran. He just had
Yeah.
that crazy bounce.
It was almost
Versa-
like a gallop,
the
strong gallop.
versatile, defense and all that. So yeah, shout out to the Worm. Like I said, I think he's got an argument for greatest defensive forward of all time. So that's why I have him at 10. But I mean, I get it if you don't make it because the next to nothing. But back in the day in the 80s, at his peak, he was 11.6 a game. So he could score a
Yeah,
little
he
bit
could
where he
score,
where he wasn't
even though he
an
ain't no
absolute
jumper.
zero. Right. Well, I mean, those
Yeah.
threes when he hit the three and he he pumped up the arm. It shot it
Whatever.
down. Okay. Okay, so that's who you got for who else you got? You got anybody else for an honorable mention?
Uh, nah,
No
nah,
honorable
that's it.
mentions. Okay. Well, I want to give an honorable mention to Bobby Jones, another great
Mm.
defensive player all time. He's got an NBA title, 4 All-Stars, 8 All Defensive teams. He's got a Sixth Man of the Year. He's currently, and he retired 40 years ago, but he's currently 107th in blocks, 155th in steals. Awesome nickname, the Secretary of Defense. So shout out to Bobby Jones. Um, Another one would be who else do I want to shout out before? Oh, Chris Webber. Chris Webber is by far one of the most talented players I've ever seen, and if you ever watch Chris Webber, he should have been the best player in the game. Like there was nothing that he couldn't do, especially at that time. He was 6'10" with a 7'3" wingspan. He he could post up. He had a baby hook. He had a nice little jumper. He didn't really shoot threes, but by his nice soft touch, you could tell. I mean, if he would have practiced threes, he could have shot three. He could dribble. He could screen. He rebounded. He blocked shots. He got steals. He just should have been so much more than what he was. I'm gonna give a shout out to Draymond as well. Draymond, for all that he's done at 6'6", played well. Played well.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so shout out to Draymond, shout out to Chris Bosh as well. He career got cut short by a blood clot. Oh, also my favorite rookie this year, also Thomas Thompson. He's going to be out with a blood clot. So hopefully, I've had one before. So hopefully he gets back healthy and in shape. And then another guy a lot of people forget about is Dolph Shays, best player
I
on a
was
title
literally,
team.
oh, that's so funny. I was literally about to ask you if you was gonna say him. That's
Yeah,
funny. Go
six
ahead,
all
proceed.
NBA first team selection, 12 all star, 29th in rebounds, 72nd in scoring. If it wasn't for, because I just don't consider him one of the top guys of his era.
Mhm.
And if he played in a strong era, he probably would be up higher. His stats ain't that high either, 18,000 points, but I mean that was high for back then, but not like that. Um,
Right.
Here and Woodage, he just wanted to give Sean Kemp an honorable mention. I don't give Sean Kemp an honorable mention, but nonetheless, honorable mention to Sean
I
Kemp.
could feel that. I could feel that.
All right, so let's get into who you got. So who do you got at 10?
At number 10. Okay. So number 10, I put Kevin McHale.
Don't got him in my list, but okay.
Okay. So with Kevin McHale, third within his 13 years, he did become a Hall of Famer, 7-time All Star, 3-time champ. Um,
Mhm.
could have easily been a starter, but decided, play the 6-man role, do his thing. He was killing it. What All rookie team in 81, 6-time all defense, 2-time 6 man. So anyway, the point with him is I felt like the type of footwork that he was displaying, like I said, he's getting these titles. He can play starting role, he can come off the bench, still give you all the buckets of a starter. So yeah, that's why I'm going with Mikhail.
That's actually, see, the reasons why, like you were saying that, that's actually the reasons why I don't go with McHale. I think he's
Oh,
overrated in a lot of ways. Well, I'll put it this way: if as far as like greatest power forwards of all time, not to say he wasn't nice or anything like that, but as far as greatest power forwards of all time, what's the staple of a power forward? A 20 and 10 guy, right?
yeah.
McHale never once averaged 20 and 10. So, that's hard for me to put you in the greatest when, like you've never once got that. Another thing too is since
What
he didn't start, what'd you want to say?
I was gonna say though, with that though, let's say the power forward isn't doing that, but the team success. Does the team success factor in this, or when you're looking at the greatest power forward, is mainly their individual impact
Well,
or
think of it
specific
like,
impact?
well, here, we'll go with this. Think of it like this. And I know he's in there somewhere. Think of Barkley. Barkley
Hmm.
didn't have the team success, but he had way more individual success. He has an MVP. He put up better numbers. And
Yeah.
look, and you value that more because McHale wasn't the man. Now, if he was the man doing this, then maybe those numbers can be factored in. But he was at best the second best player, and at times the
Right.
third best. That's like their first title that they won. I think in the finals, he averaged like 13 minutes a game and 4 points and 3 rebounds, something like that. Kevin McHale. So in their first title, so in their first finals, he was a complete non-factor, and then winning it 4 and 3 in 13 minutes isn't really a. I mean, I guess if you want to say he contributed something, but yeah, and see that's another thing when I'm talking like these greatest players ever, with top 10 or whatever, just like bro, if you were so great, they would be forced to start you. When you are a top 10 at your position all time, they are forced to start you. That's my biggest knock on Manu. When everybody was like, I was like, and he might be Hall of Fame for what he did in with his overseas career and his Olympic career and things like that. But just what he did here, no. I mean, he came off the bench and all that. You know, you're just if you're mostly coming off the bench, that's not a Hall of Fame career. Not to say it's not a nice career or anything like that. It's just not Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame's supposed to be this upper echelon of things, and we got players coming off the bench in it. That's just crazy to me.
Yeah, I feel
So,
that.
so okay, so that's who you got at 10. All right, cool. Who you got at 9?
All right, so nine's probably gonna mess you up, but
Let's hear it.
and to be honest, my number nine is really based on the fact that he won't stay healthy. So my number nine is Anthony Davis.
Oh, I don't have.
Anthony Davis is extremely athletic. He has the height of a center,
Yeah,
but with his build and just his skill set in the way that he plays the game, he
he
has
played
the
point
skill
guard in high school.
exactly, and he plays kind of like that. He plays like a stretch. He plays like a stretch guard. So with Anthony Davis, so like I said, the reason why I have him at number nine instead of anywhere higher, there's a few reasons actually. He's been in the league 11 years. Um, not to not to disrespect 11 years. 11 years is 11 years. But in this, he's a six-time All-Star, three-time block champ. He won the title with LeBron, and arguably he could have been considered the best player on that team, just depending on what you were looking for out of a player. But he definitely was displaying dominance. It was clear when you was watching that finals that LeBron pretty much looked as though he even understood, okay, I might be on my way out. It might be this man's team at this point. Anyway, the point that I'm making though is with Anthony Davis, four-time All-Star, four-time All-Defense. He's already in the top 75. So yeah, Anthony Davis is my number nine.
Yeah, they got that. They got Anthony Davis in the top 75 wrong. Fucking wrong. So wrong on so many levels. That shit
You
is
don't
so
respect Davis? You don't like Anthony Davis?
no, not at all. Not at all.
You don't like his game, or you don't, or is there something specific that you don't like about
Oh my
what he
god.
brings?
I don't like the year he was 27 years old, averaging 7.9 rebounds a game. Bro, you can't get 2 rebounds a quarter. I don't like that he came in getting you on a no talent uh Pelicans team. It might have been their last year as the Hornets, getting you at 13-8. He's always injured. Every once in a while he plays nice. Supposedly he has this nice touch and all that, but he can never shoot threes at a decent enough level. He his field goal percentage is fabulous. I'm not going to say that, but yeah, there's just no reason why I don't like how he supposedly, like he played point guard in high school, but he only gets you like
Mhm.
3 assists. He just fades in and out of games. Every year that dude should be like 28 and 15 and 6 assists. But I'll put it this way, he should be putting up Kevin Garnett like numbers with a little more scoring. That's what that dude should do. And he doesn't. And he doesn't. So no, I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm watching what he could do, and he doesn't do it. And like I said, the lack of rebounding really, really bothered me, like so badly. It took him his first 3 years in LA. He didn't rebound. He didn't decide to start rebounding till last season. No, no, not at all. Anthony Davis is nowhere near there. Not only that, like with his 11 years versus like some of these other people with their full careers, he hasn't even played 9 seasons worth of games. He's only got like 17,000 points, 7,000 rebounds. Nah, he just ain't there. He just didn't do anything spectacular to be there. But I respect the talent. The talent's amazing, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why because he's not living up to the talent.
I feel that, and I think I somewhat see the talent and what it could be. Like if a healthy Davis, I see what that could potentially lead to, and we have seen what a healthy Davis could do. So we'll see, though. We'll see. We'll see if he deserves the spot later on in his career, or if he's just wasted potential.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Who you got for number 8?
Okay, so for my number eight, I have Elvin Hayes.
Bro, that's who I got at 8.
Do you?
I got him at
Big
8.
E.
Yes, I do. The Big E,
Yeah.
yeah.
12-time All Star, six-time All NBA, two-time All Defense, NBA scoring champ. Sorry, got something going on with my leg. But Yeah, I mean, he's only 6'9", but at the same time, he's knowing how to body. He's knowing how to get this jump shot off. He's just dominant. He had a presence that was dominant on the court. I know you want to say something. I'm not trying to take up time, but I know.
No, 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 no. I was just gonna say, when you said he's only 6'9", um, he played center in college, and him and Kareem, I think it was in Houston actually. Uh, but that, yeah, it was like the biggest crowd ever. It was like 80,000 people or something. It was like one hell of a
What?
game. Yeah, yeah. And then I think Elvin Hayes got him too. I think that, not I'm not an NCAA guy, but yeah. Um,
Crazy.
what I like about Elvin Hayes is, I mean, he's got like what 27,000 points, 14,000 rebounds, 13,000 rebounds. I know he's still like fourth in, no, he's got like 16,000. Yeah, because he's fourth. And then he's like 11th in scoring, 12th in scoring, something like that. 24th in blocks. They didn't even keep blocks his first couple of years in the league, too. So, yeah, man, he was kind of like Carl Malone. He was kind of like
Right.
Carl Malone, just every year consistently just cranking out numbers, just cranking out numbers. And then he got to the Bullets, and when he got with Wes Unseld, those guys were sneaky good. They went to the finals 4 times in the 70s. Now they only got one, but they went to the final. They were just good every year, just a solid team. They were kind of like, without the success, like, but kind of like the Spurs. Just every year they were just going to be there. You know what I mean? And they were just hard to beat and all that. So yeah, no, Elvin Hayes is like super solid at 8. To be honest with you, I was like, dang, bro, I can't believe it. I got Elvin Hayes coming at number 8, because I remember as a kid when I first learned about him, I was like, dude, this dude's a monster. Just in the especially too, because nobody else was putting numbers up uh back then like that or whatever. I think he personally deserved Finals MVP. A lot of people, since he joined Unseld's team, considers him the second best player, which I don't know why. When LeBron joined Wade's team, they don't consider LeBron the second best. So,
But you
yeah,
know what though? That's kind of like when KD went to the Warriors, they considered KD to be the best player on that team. I still felt as though Steph was the best player. I felt like he was the best and took a step back intentionally. Whereas by the time LeBron joined up with Wade, Wade wasn't still in that prime. He wasn't in the same kind of prime at that point in his career. Like he was still extremely good, but
hmm
he wasn't that Wade that you would have want to see LeBron team up with, that was just destroying it, just dominating everybody.
right.
Anyway,
No,
my
I feel
bad.
you on that. No, no, no. You got anything else you want to say about the Big E?
Um, no, not in
Now,
particular. No.
do you think he was, since he was the original Big E? Do you think he liked when they called him Big Papa too, or no?
I guess it depends on who it was. You know, they weren't playing back then
I don't know, Charlene back then. How about her?
when nobody playing. That's all I know.
Oh, here's a cool little fact. Check this out. Bullets were the only team to make the playoffs every year in the 1970s. 71 was my favorite, with Unseld and Gunce Johnson averaging 17 points each. That just team just needed a good point guard. Actually, the Bullets, my favorite guy from those Bullets team is Bobby Dandridge. So when they got
Not
Dandridge, that's when I was like, because 71 he was with the Bucks then, and I think that's really what he's one of those players. If you want to win, get you Bobby Dandridge. So, oh, here's
oh,
another one for you too. When we're talking about when KG joined the Celtics, he was the best player on that team. Do we really consider it Paul Pierce's team over KG's though?
many do actually.
I'm just saying in the circle
Correct.
I ran, and nobody really considered that. Everybody considered it kind of KG since he was the best player.
Yeah, see, the circles I ran in considered it KG for different reasons. They just knew that, he was
Well, fuck,
punking
we
them.
ran in the same circles. That's what I'm saying. It was all
And I know
KG.
we thought that KG was punking them.
Right. Oh shit. All right, so that's who you have at 8. All right, who do you got at 7th?
Yeah. My number 7. Yeah, that's right. My number 7 is Bob Pettit. That's your boy, ain't it? But yeah, Bob Pettit, another Hall of Famer, 11
The
time.
disrespect.
You know, like the disrespect on his name.
The disrespect on Pettit's name. Yeah, because Pettit is
This,
clearly a top five power forward of all time. But go on.
I mean, he's got a career of 26.4 points a game, total rebounds of 16.2, 3 assists throughout his career. I mean, it was 11 years, but at the same time, that's consistency. That's 11 years of giving you 26 to 16. Also dishing out the ball. 11-time All Star. He was an All Star his whole career. 4-time MVP, 2-time scoring champ. Got a title. Made the what can I say? 2-time MVP. But yeah,
10-time All NBA first team, only person ever to beat Bill Russell in the finals. Speaking of which, what was that game that Giannis put up in 21 to close out the Suns? He scored 50, and what else did he have?
50.
How many rebounds did he have? Do you remember?
No, oh shit, what was it? No, I don't remember off the top of my head. Oh wait, no. Boy,
Well,
we gonna say
anyways,
that.
the whole point being is because in Game 6 when Bob Pettit closed out Bill Russell and the Celtics, he scored 50 and 19 to close that out in 58. You know what I mean? So you got to put some respect on Pettit. Pettit's top 5 easy. Like I said, 26 and 16 is an awesome game. 26 and 16 for a season is MVP. And 26 and 16 for an entire career is Pettit and Wilt Chamberlain. So I just don't know how you got him at 7. That's breaking my heart.
Sorry. To answer your question about Giannis, I did find that he was 50 and 14.
Yeah, see, so you remember how much we all went nuts for that 50 and 14. Pettit was 50 and 19. Pettit had 50 and supposedly 25 rebounds. I know they say 25, but like I said, every box score I've seen it says 19 rebounds, so I got to go with the box score. Um, yeah, I don't know about the 12 blocks. I've never heard about the 12 block. How old were you when you found out about Pettit?
How was I?
Yeah.
I found out about Pettit in the 90s, so I was
Mhm.
probably between 6 and probably 9 when I found out about Pettit.
Oh, so you knew about Pettit when you were young.
Yeah,
Pettit
watching
played
them
played
boys.
11 years, had 11 different head coaches. Now, see, talk about that. Look at that, man. More domination of Pettit. That's what I'm saying. You got him at 7, 7, tripping, dog, tripping. All right, who you got at 6? Because I got Pettit at 5.
I hear you. So for number 6, I have the Chuckster, Charles Barkley. He didn't win a title, I know, I get it, but
I have him at 7.
he's still an 11-time All Star.
Hmm.
He's still a MVP. He made it to the top 75, well deserved. He's a rebound champ of 87. Made the All Rookie team of 85. So with Chuck, here's the thing: had he not ran into the Bulls, everybody knows Phoenix would have had a title. Chuck is consistently out here giving you, let me see what his career 22.1, 11 rebounds, 3 assists at 54%. So he had a respectable mid range, a respectable jump shot. He could bring the ball up, he can pass the ball, he could rebound the ball. Really, wasn't no stopping him, to be honest. And with him only being 6'4", but also being such a dominant physical presence, yeah, like I said, he's grabbing boards over everybody, no matter the height. He's just in the right position most of the time. So yeah,
Hmm.
you got any thoughts on Chuck?
What's crazy is okay. So let me ask you this. I was on a live on this one dude on TikTok that I go on his live sometimes. We talk basketball and all that. So he was
Mm.
doing his ranking or whatever, and he had Chuck over Allen Iverson. Would you have Chuck all time over Allen Iverson?
Do I have Chuck all time over Iverson? I feel as though accolades wise, they kind of got about the same amount of accolades almost. No, it's hard for me. No, I feel as though where Iverson edges for me, and it's a slight edge, but where he edges to me is kind of athleticism, and not even just that. It was what he was able to do with less. That's really for me the success Iverson was able to get with the team that he had because Barkley at least had a KG that he played with. Barkley at least got to play with like a Dr. J. He got to play with like a King, stuff like that. Whereas
Yeah,
Iverson
but he
did get
played
to play with,
well, but I was gonna say he played with them all at the wrong time of their careers, though, too.
and that's fair. But at the same time, though, he played with them at points where he could pick up things from them. So at the very least, he's able to learn from them. At the very least, he's able to mature his game from the things that he's learning from them. Or add something extra. So at the very least, he's getting that knowledge because he's a respectable player. So they're gonna give it to him based on they know what he about. Iverson though, I feel like Iverson had to basically will Philly. I mean, just like you were saying, Chuck got these players at a bad point in their career. Look at what team Iverson had. You feel me? He had Mutombo, but at the same time, that wasn't the best version of Mutombo. Um,
No, but it was still an all-star, all NBA defensive player of the year, Mutombo.
yeah, but
Also,
can we
also too, he got Chris Webber at his last good year. He had Jerry Stackhouse, but he didn't mesh well with him. And Jerry Stackhouse averaged 29 a game in Detroit. He also didn't mesh well with Larry Hughes. He had Larry Hughes, and Larry Hughes became an all-star in Washington. He also had who, and I don't think Chuck played with anybody more talented at their point. He played with what a prime Carmelo, who was probably the most talented out of that group, with a
but here's
Marcus Camby. He played with all those in Denver and couldn't get out of the first round.
here's the thing about that Denver team, and we're back to meeting them at the or playing with them at the wrong time in their career. That whole Denver team was extremely young and extremely immature, and all they wanted to do was put points up. They weren't even trying to win.
Hmm.
I'm not saying they weren't trying to win because it's basketball, but I'm saying they cared more about individual accolades. They cared more about their own personal success than the team success. So he went to a team full of a bunch of, I don't want to say hotheads, but a bunch of, young minded players that
Well, then
didn't
how do
have the right.
well wait a minute, but then how do you explain the fact that when they traded for Chauncey Billups, they traded that was in the mid of the same season, and they went from couldn't get out of the first round to conference finals, trying to dethrone the Lakers as Western Conference champs to go on and try to beat the Magic for a title.
Chauncey Billups and Iverson are different personalities. You feel me? Chauncey Billups probably isn't gonna go to that team and allow that, whereas Iverson is out in the club. You feel me? Iverson is kicking it. So Iverson knows what it's like to be young and wild. So he's not really probably in a mindset to really check them because he's out there kind of still doing the same thing. Whereas Chauncey Billups is a mature player. Chauncey Billups is a winner already. He's already gotten his title. So that's why I feel as though it's a little different as far as the type of leadership that you're getting from Chauncey versus Iverson. I feel as though you get more offensively, you get more athletically out of Iverson, but out of Billups, you get more of a mature, I don't want to say a mature mind, but you get more of a leadership quality in him. I don't think Iverson wanted to be a leader. Iverson was the leader because he was strong willed and because he was the best player on his team. But I don't think he had necessarily the leadership mindset.
Yeah, I don't know. I just go with. I mean, I think Barkley clears by like far. Iverson in his prime shot 38% one season. Barkley in his prime shot 58%. Just more efficient, more leads to better wins, that type of thing. Rebounds better, more possessions that way. So, but yeah, there was this dude. He just couldn't understand it. But anyways, he didn't know Barkley was 6'4". Is the point? Is what I was originally going to say. He thought Barkley was 6'8". So my question for you was this: Barkley, however big he is or whatever, let's say his his whatchamacallit, his what's this called right here?
His wingspan,
His wingspan. There we go. So his wingspan, let's say it's 110% of his body or whatever, 120. So if he was 6'8" at the same proportion he is at 6'4", do you think he would have been the best player in the league, unstoppable? He would have replaced Jordan? Like, what are we talking here?
he would have been a freak of nature. I mean, he was already a freak at his size, being 6'4" and as powerful as he was and as dominant as he was. being the size of being a height, I should say, of a guard. So he's the height of a guard. He's got the build of a forward, but he's bumping and he's playing and he's in there grinding like he's a center. Um, if he had 4 more inches and the wingspan to go with that extra length, yeah, I mean, he's already unstoppable. He's dunking at 6'4". So what you think he doing at 6'8"?
I
At
mean, is he the
6'4",
greatest power forward of all time then, or what are we talking?
we're talking he might end up potentially being one of the greatest players of all time. Like, and I don't mean like one of the greatest players like in the top 10. Like he might have ended up making it in the top five with that.
Like all time? Like
Um,
how many titles we talking?
Probably like 4 or 5,
How many does that shrink
depending on what
Jordan down
team.
to?
No, and I say 4 or 5 because that's what we're seeing out of the greats. That's what we've been seeing pretty much since that era. The
Talking
players
about
that you
like
consider,
like Shaq, Kobe, LeBron, Steph.
yeah, that's
You
what we're
know,
seeing, right?
yeah, that's what we have been seeing. All right, so you have Chuck at what'd you have him at sixth?
I had him at, yeah, at 6.
Okay, because I had him at seventh. All right, who you got then at fifth?
So number 5 for me is the Greek Freak. The reason why I have Giannis at number 5, and for the record, I think Giannis is more than likely going to be the best power forward of
I
all
got him at
time.
four.
Okay, okay. I think eventually Giannis is going to be the best power forward of all time. Or he's going to be in the top 2. But with Giannis though, I mean he can do everything. And like we were talking about earlier, we watched him wheel his team to victory, and that's not easy to do, especially in the finals. To feel as though, okay, to not let your team play discourage you or get you frustrated with them or anything. We're watching this man and his team in the first half were not doing that well. And we just see Giannis just consistently going up against Phoenix. Everything that they had, Giannis is playing both ends of the court. He did have that growth spurt that we've seen throughout his career. He added muscle, and this adds to how dominant he is. He already was quick. He already had the handles, and he already showed a lot of heart and potential. And then you see that maturity. Giannis just all of a sudden grew into this dominant player where you just knew that he felt differently about the league. He was no longer green. Now this is my league. Giannis started playing like I feel like I'm the best player. And when he's out there, he plays like he feels like he's the most dominant player. So um anyway, within his career, he's been in the league 10 years. He's already got a title. He's already made 7 All NBA teams. He's already made 5 All Defensive teams. He's already got MVP twice. He's got a whole list of accolades that he's gotten within his 10 years. Career His career average is 22.6 with 9.6 rebounds, 4.7 assists. But this season, or not this season, his previous season, we're seeing him getting better. Previous
Yeah, because he
season,
started off slow.
yeah, you feel me? He's getting up to 30. So Giannis, any given night, can give you 25 to even 35 points. This is a consistent. Giannis is going to give you within that range and about 9 boards a night. And we're seeing constant success with him. From the time, like I was saying, Giannis decided that this is my league, you're seeing it. You're seeing how the league is kind of building around him because a lot of these teams know eventually they might have to go up against him, or at least that's how it was a couple years ago. And it's looking like they still haven't figured out an answer for Giannis just yet.
No, I feel you on that. Yeah, I got Giannis fourth, bro. Especially if you look at like, okay, like for example, I know you haven't pulled Carl Malone yet, and obviously he's got to be somewhere in there. But to me, Giannis has better accolades than him. You know, he's got the Defensive Player of the Year. A lot of people feel like Malone's two MVPs. They feel like one should have went to Duncan and one should have went to Jordan. So and you don't hear that about Giannis. So it feels like his MVPs are stronger than Malone's. Also, too, you know how like you said he averages 23 and 10 basically. Well, if you pump that up to like a per 36 minute number, because Malone back then was playing
Right.
40 minutes, Giannis is only playing 30, 32, 34, a lot less. If you pump that up, then he's 26 and 11. So then he clears Malone on averages. Not to mention he's got such a slow start. And then if you do pump up his per 36 numbers, he's got some seasons where he's getting like 36 and 16, 34 and 16, something like that, 35 and 16. And those are like Kareem in 1971 numbers.
Yeah.
So Kareem is 7 foot two. Not to mention Giannis is more of a small forward, not for like years.
Yeah, and I feel that, and that's the point that I was
Biggest
making.
dude on
That's
the court.
huh.
He's often the biggest dude on the court.
Oh, yeah,
And
and
I'm
that's the
talking
point.
I'm talking like muscle wise, height wise. How is that a small forward?
But yeah, and that's the point I was making. Where Giannis came back. We watched him. We watched the development. When Giannis first got to the league, he was slim. He was small. He was a small forward. This is true. And you watch him every year. He comes back and he's building and he's building and he's looking intimidating. Giannis looks intimidating on the court. You see Giannis
Def-
coming at you full speed. You're moving out the way. You ain't necessarily doing that with small forwards unless you're scared you're gonna get dunked on. Giannis, you're moving because you don't want to connect with him. You don't want to collide with that. That's power. So yeah,
it's weird when you think of all the centers though. I mean, all the power forwards though. Like I think all the greatest ones or whatever, they all can play more than just the power forward position. Because like Garnett, he's played center and small forward. Barkley played small forward. Malone's played center. Um, Nowitzki can play small forward and center.
mhm,
Duncan plays center. So yeah, there's some versatility, I think, too. I think all the great positions, like,
important.
if you're maybe unless the great point guard, because some of them are just really small or whatever, but maybe now positionless basketball, because, Chris Paul can defend twos, especially at his peak.
Yeah, but nowadays, dang, he got them quick hands though still, but he ain't catching nothing above the shoulders.
No, I agree with that. So yeah, to me, Giannis is fourth all time. He's over Malone for me. Um, the only thing
And
he
like
just
I
doesn't
said,
have, he has half of Malone's stats, like career numbers. He has like, Malone has like 36 and
mhm,
14, and Giannis has like 18 and 7. So, but yeah, it's just the difference. Not only that, too, if you look at his numbers for the last like, I don't know, 7 years or whatever, he puts up the numbers every year. If you just saw the stat line, you're like, that's an MVP season. That's an MVP season. That's it. If you just look at the stat line.
yeah,
So, I mean, he's put up the numbers consecutively now for 7, 8 years or whatever. Um, when he, and it's just the consistency that it builds as well. It's not sporadic. It's not erratic. It's the opposite of Anthony Davis. So I really like that. Another thing too, I just want to let you know, I called Giannis before anybody else, and that's always been a point of pride for me. So I just want to let
yeah,
everybody
that's
know that.
true. That's
So
true.
I was on
He
Giannis before anybody else. I didn't see Jokic coming like this, but I saw Giannis. All right, so that was number 5 for you, right?
yeah.
Okay, so who you got at 4?
All right. So for number 4, I have the great Dirk Nowitzki. He only won one title in his tenure with the Mavericks.
I got
Average
him third.
got on third. All right.
Got him third.
Um, he averaged 20.7 over the career in points, 7.5 rebounds, 2.4 assists. I know the numbers don't sound that great, but when you watch Dirk out there playing, this is a power forward. He's got the height. Once again, with these power forwards, a lot of them have the height of centers, but at the same time, their builds won't be, that wide or that large. So they're put in different positions. Dirk, one of them stretch from a small to a center. Anyway, with Dirk though, he's the best player on his team the whole time he's playing. He's a big guy. He's shooting anywhere from 47% on any given night. You might catch Dirk on fire. Dirk might even get up to 50% at times. 14-time All Star, 12-time All NBA. He's got the Finals MVP. When he had the team going up against LeBron and Dwayne Wade, he was able to will his team. He did have a whole bunch of role players, but at the same time, it was role players. He had who? Jason Kidd, Jason Terry. These are well, actually, Jason Terry was actually helping off the bench. Dirk was the one putting in the most work offensively, and he had everybody around him helping with all of the extra work, all of the and rightfully so. These are things that you need. You need teams that come with the assists, come with the rebounds. But Dirk is also out there getting assists and rebounds, contributing in that way too. So Dirk is contributing on every end of the offensive side of things. He wasn't the greatest defender, but at the same time, Dirk will get with you defensively. He will create a distraction for you. You know, he will make it difficult for you to score. So yeah,
Well, first off, I want to get this. It was not Dirk was not the best player on the team. Finley was for the first couple of years, and then Dirk took over around his third season. It was a debate who was better. I think Finley was still better that season, but by the fourth season, Dirk had definitely supplanted him as best player. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I got like I said, I got Dirk third. Um, just a dominant player before him. If you watch the Mavs in the '90s, this is just some like wild shit what he was able to do because the Mavs were always awful in the 90s. And then when Dirk got good, they just consistently ran off 50-win seasons just over and over and over and over. And it was the weirdest thing ever. They started having a lot of good success. They were really good. So they were 40 and 42 in the 9 2000 season. But they were actually 37 and 33 when they in the time Dennis Rodman played for him. Dennis Rodman was 3-9 and just nothing but a distraction. So they probably would have made the playoffs had they not brought in Dennis Rodman for 12 games. And he brought nothing to the table. But but at that point in time in his career. So, at that point in time he was, almost 40, he just wasn't the same player.
And also, I do gotta say this, and I didn't even mean to cut you off with Dirk though. You gotta give Dirk the credit, and not only Dirk, players like Dirk, but Dirk is definitely one of the players you gotta give credit for the type of bigs that we have now. These bigs that can shoot now, like the KDs, even Anthony
Jokic.
Davis, Jokic, exactly. We gotta give credit to players like Dirk because Dirk showed, I'm a big guy, but I got handles. You feel me? I can shoot. I can run. He was quick in his younger years. His later years, he moved like molasses a little bit, but his younger years, he was quick. You might see Dirk hit somebody with a quick little. But anyway, shout out to Dirk for that though, leaving that blueprint.
Well, I was gonna say the best player in the game, is Jokic now, and he's got that fadeaway 1 footer. Even Kobe started using the one
He
footer.
did, and
Everybody started using 1 footer.
and the crazy thing about that shot too is with Dirk, where he's already tall, but his release is so high too. So it's like you already can't get to him because he's fading like he is with that awkward, one leg. But then with him being so tall, you really have no chance at blocking the ball when he does that.
I don't know.
And he
I
had
just,
to
I
know to
just,
be efficient.
if I was playing him, I just want to camp right and just see if I could block that. Because he only does it with the right leg. So I just want to camp right and just see if I could block it. But yeah, so you got him fourth. I got him third. All right. Then who do you got third?
Third, I got KG third. KG's similar to Dirk as far as
KG's my
well, not
second.
similar. Um, I don't mean similar to Dirk as far as that fadeaway, but KG was big and KG did have a respectable jumper too. KD's mid range is crazy. KD's one of those players that's kind of ferocious. He leads his team with tenacity. Let me pull KG numbers real quick to be exact. KG is only 17 points a game over the career, 10 rebounds, 3 assists. But at the same time, what you're seeing over KG's career, you're seeing how he can lead his team. You're seeing how he can go play with a stacked team and not necessarily try to be too offensive. I mean, too aggressive offensively, but also show up at them times where you may need him to be. When he was playing with Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, he didn't have to averaged 20 plus points a game. He just needed to help them out with rebounds, but the coaches more so wanted him to shoot more because he's a very effective shooter. Over his career, he's a 15-time All Star, NBA champ, All Rookie team of '96, All Star game MVP. He's got the Defensive Player of the Year in '08.
'03 All-Star Game MVP, double overtime.
That was a crazy game. Though.
Uh,
That was a dope game.
like how
But
Jordan set out the second OT, just let
oh,
the
we running
West
out of
win.
time. But anyway, I'll keep it brief though. But yeah, KG well deserved over his career. He's didn't start off too well, but he ended strong.
Yeah, no, man. Like I like
And
KG. Yeah, like I said, I got him as second greatest. I mean, what the only thing he doesn't have is a Finals MVP. But I mean, he's got an MVP, an All Star MVP, and that's back when they actually played and they mattered. He's got, he's got All NBA first team, All NBA defensive team, defensive player of the year, bunch of All Star, bunch of All NBA. At his peak, man, he was like in Minnesota, and there's an argument that he could have been MVP the year before he won it. But I mean, his peak, he's like 24 points a game, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 blocks, 2 steals.
yeah, and it's like he gets he gets the slack and everything because Minnesota, they weren't making it out the first round. But at the same time, during that era that he was playing, during that time he was playing, like his competition wasn't that easy either. So it's not like he was just failing. He was going up against, teams that would turn out to be greats. So
Well, I mean, he lost to the Lakers, Shaq and Kobe in back-to-back years. He lost to Dirk one of the years. He lost to Duncan 2 of those years. Um, don't remember who they lost to in 2000.
yeah, but I mean just that, you
Well,
feel me? So it's like he's losing to great teams. He's not just
lost to Barkley and Hakeem in '97.
so yeah. But so that's the point on KG. I can't take any credit away. I wish he could have done better, but at the same time, I can't knock it because look what he was going against. But that's why I said KG didn't start off strong. He started off strong as far as his individual numbers. You feel me? He was an all star up top, but at the same time, you feel me? He couldn't translate that into a win until he got with more mature players, or got with Boston in that unit and that organization.
What made you rank KG over Dirk?
Um, so what made me rank KG over Dirk is
Wouldn't you say you're more of a Dirk fan over KG or no?
yeah, I am. I am
Mhm.
actually more of a Dirk fan, but with KG, like I was saying, how ferocious he was. KG, here's the thing: Dirk was a player that you respected. KG
Mhm.
was a player that many feared.
Mhm.
The fact that KG is bringing a fear out of you, he's not scoring like Dirk. So it's the little things that he's doing on the court. Draymond Green is getting himself in trouble. My bad. It's the little thing that he's doing on the court. It's the his trash talk and how it's getting in people's heads. It's the fact that KG realistically could put up numbers if he wanted to, and when he wanted to.
Mhm.
But he matured and was able to play in the system. But at the same time, he still brought that fire. Dirk more so was the type of player who he just out there hooping. He out there hooping, and he got enough people around him to where they see he hooping and like, oh yeah, let's get on board. He's hooping so hard, few points here, rebound here, this and that. It's going to translate to success. KG is out there having you feel like if you don't get it together, somebody might get dropped on his court. And I'm not saying be violent, but I'm saying the what he's bringing out of them is a little different.
Mhm. I got you. Okay, well then, who you got at number two all time?
I didn't even want to put him here. Um, I have to put some respect on this man's consistency. I have Karl Malone at number two.
I have
Um,
him at sixth.
so over his career, he's giving you 25 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists.
Killer Cam's with you. Draymond's getting into it.
Yeah, see, I just seen that on I got distracted, my bad. But yeah, I looked up and seen Dre about to get himself in trouble, and then he tried to calm me down. He ain't slick. But Hopefully it works because we need him. Anyway, though, with Carl Malone, though, rightfully so, he's a Hall of Famer. We see what happened, the success he could have had, I should say, had he not gone up against that Legacy Bulls team. And Chi-Town represent, I'm glad he did. Anyway, the point is, we have a 14-time All-Star. He's in the league for 19 years. So the majority of his time in the league, he's considered an all-star. He's got the MVP twice. He's an all-time defensive player. I'm sorry, four-time all defensive player. And
Hmm.
like I said, over the whole career, he's giving you 25 and 10 for 19 years. So, yep, they better stay out of trouble. And it's
So
crazy too. I like the aggressiveness though. I ain't gonna even front. I do want to see a brawl, but I don't want to see a brawl with my team.
so what I want to say is this is I saw so I can't have my guy that's like terrible in the last 2 minutes of pressurized games to be in the top five. So that's why, to be honest with you, if it wasn't for that second MVP, I think it's a bullshit MVP too. I think his first one is too. I think both of his MVPs suck. But bottom line is he has them. So if it wasn't for his two MVPs and just his like great stats, like I mean, I would much rather have Barkley. I'd take a Barkley 11 out of 10 times over Malone.
And that's fair.
Ugh.
But with Malone, here's the thing about Malone. I'm not here to argue because I don't like Malone, so I'm not arguing how dope Malone is. But at the same time, I do have to respect the fact that Malone is the type of player he doesn't miss games like that. Like he's out there, like I said, 19 seasons. He went 17 of them without any major injuries. He finished his career with 36,000 points.
36, 9,
36,000
28.
to be exact. That's a lot
But
of points.
well, I was gonna say no. He only had the
Yeah.
injury one season because I mean he played what 50 games in the lockout, 49, whatever it was. So yeah, I mean he played every game that they had available pretty much. Yeah, no, Malone's great, and like I said, I can't believe. But we've seen all these players already supplant him. Well, like you, I guess you only have one, but you have guys that are close to him as well. In like Garnett, why would you pick Malone over Garnett though?
So the reason I picked Malone over Garnett, it has a lot to do with offensive. It has a lot to do with he has a he has a higher field goal percentage, but he's also scoring more points. So
Right.
we're getting a higher percentage and we're also getting more points. It could be argued that he had a John Stockton, so that has yep. But we can say that because he had Stockton that contributed to how many points he was scoring. Yeah, true. That's possible. But at the same time, we don't know that for a fact. So we have to respect what we do know. We do know he is out there and we're seeing him offensive. We're seeing him on both ends of the court. We're seeing him stay defense. We're seeing him block players. We're seeing him get his rebounds, steals at times. We're seeing him get a few assists. So as far as KG had to go to a stacked team before he even got his championship. Up until that point, I don't feel as though KG had a better career, in my opinion, than Karl Malone.
I got you. Yeah, I don't know. I think that defensive player of the year, and I think the like the rebounding titles, and I don't know, those are just kind of what separated him from me. And plus, he won a chip, and he was the best player on the team when they won the chip.
That's
He didn't
fair.
get the
Yeah.
Finals MVP, but he was the best player on the team. So, and if it wasn't for a knee injury, they probably go back to back. And if it wasn't for some bullshit officiating, they probably win three in a row. And if it's not for a Shaq and Rondo injury, they probably win four in a row. And then we just really look at, and it has nothing to do with KG, just kind of the luck of the draw. But then now he's
Mhm.
got four titles. He's got definitely at least one Finals MVP, and he's on a whole nother level now. So yeah. Okay, well then who you got number one? I can guess, I can take guess, but
Yeah, I don't even think it's a question after we done got through the list. So I'm assuming we got the same number one. I don't know who it's gonna be other than the big fundamental, Mr. Tim Duncan. Um, where do we
Mine
start
was
with Tim?
Clarence Weatherspoon.
You know what? I had him at 1.5 to be honest. Like, I had a 1A and a 1B.
Right.
What's going with my B? No. um, where do we start with Tim Duncan? You feel me
At the beginning.
at the beginning. Okay.
He came in being
He's
an
the
all
rookie of the year.
NBA, rookie of the year, all star, 55 plus wins player. Correct?
Yeah. We watched Tim Duncan make his whole team better around him. We watched Tim Duncan take all of these players who would realistically just be role players, all of these players who probably wouldn't even be stars on other teams, look like superstars, mega stars. You feel me? No knock against Ginobili, but at the same time, Ginobili's numbers, how great are they if he's not on the Spurs?
Right.
He made Tony Parker an all-star. That's not to take away from Tony Parker's game. That's Can we say it wasn't attributed at all to the success that we're seeing the Spurs get every season that they had Tim Duncan?
Oh, oh, I'm on this. Every All Star appearance, any Hall of Fame selections, all NBAs that Tony Parker or Manu get, they was completely owed to Tim Duncan. I don't think I don't think they were ever those players. I think they were those players because of what Tim Duncan brought, what the system brought. I think they are. There was a scout, David Thorpe. He once said this: 10% of the players are going to be trash no matter where they go, or whatever term he used. Not very good, something like that. But you get the point. And 10% of the other players are going to be stars wherever they go. The other 80% completely determined on where they land and what system and who they play with and this and all that other stuff. And I think Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili fall in that 80%.
Yeah, because Tim was gonna Tim anywhere. You feel me?
Hmm.
You put Tim on any team, you put Tim in any system really, and you're going to see success. I don't know if it necessarily equates to back to back to back to back titles, but I do think we're going to see a similar result putting Tim anywhere. I don't feel that way about anybody else on that roster. I mean, Kawhi, yes, a player like Kawhi, but and not even Aldridge. Yeah, other than Kawhi, Tim Duncan is really the only player that was going to see the same success no matter where he went from the players that he had that I recall.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, and if you don't believe me, just look at what Manu did as a 25-year-old rookie that had been playing pro basketball for years. He averaged 9 a game. So that's how
Um,
that's
you
how good
want
that was. What's
to
up?
you want to break down Tim's numbers real quick, or is it just self-explanatory?
It's just self-explanatory. Tim
It's
Duncan.
Tim Duncan.
I think I think Tim Duncan is, if you look at, if you factor in it as a whole, Tim Duncan is the most winningest player of all
Winning.
time. 19 straight years with 50 plus wins. The only ones
Not a
that,
losing season. Like, you feel me? Like,
not just not a losing season, 50 plus wins. Every year you're winning at least 5 out of 8, and most years he's winning 2 out of 3. Most years it's 55 plus wins, and then a lot of years they weren't even trying to go for wins. I mean, they were trying to win the games, obviously, but they
mhm,
weren't looking for a number one seed. They didn't care where they got. They just wanted to get in
they
the
just want
playoffs
to get
healthy.
because nobody
Right,
wanted
because
nobody wanted to go against them.
right. So yeah, to be honest with you, a lot of years they probably could have won 5 to 10 more games if they gave a shit more about winning in the regular season. They are literally 2 shots away from possibly winning 5 titles in a row. So yeah, he's just the ultimate winner. And everybody's like, oh well, it was the system. Well, Pop was 17-47 before Duncan got there. So if it was the system, not only that, why are they losing now if it's the system? They should have never been losing. It's the system. They got a guy like DeMar DeRozan, and they used to turn, players that couldn't get any minutes into like star role players. And if they have a guy like DeRozan who was already making all NBA teams, they should be able to turn him into like an MVP candidate. How come Pop couldn't do it? Because there's no Duncan there. because it's all Duncan. So yeah, Duncan's my number one as well. But you
Okay.
left off
Oh,
somebody, correct?
I left somebody off.
Yeah, you left somebody off. You didn't list my number 9 guy.
Nine guy.
Yeah, my number 9 guy is Pau Gasol.
You know what's funny about that?
Is that you were wrong for not
What-
putting him on your top 10?
no, what's funny about that is when you asked about honorable mentions after we had gone past it, it hit me. I didn't mention pals, so I knew this was gonna come up. But right now, you kind of threw me when you were like, "I forgot him," because I'm like, "Cool." But yeah, yeah, pal. I mean, I guess I could have put Powell in place of Barkley, but at the same time, I felt as though Barkley was too dominant.
Oh, no, you can't put him
I
in
like
place of Barkley.
no, I know. I'm just saying. Uh,
But Anthony
that was more
Davis, you
so
can.
the thing about Anthony Davis is he's more talented than Powell. He's not
He is,
as
but he's not greater.
hmm?
He is, but he's not greater.
He's not greater. Fair enough. Fair enough.
And I
That's
don't know if
fair.
he's I don't know I don't even know if he's more talented. I mean, he's more talented in like dribbling, shooting, and like scoring, but I don't know
Right.
if he's more talented in passing angles, reading cuts, reading defense. So I don't know if he's smarter like that. So or more talented at that.
IQ
So I
might
guess
not
it
be it.
depends. Yeah, so it depends on like what you value, I guess.
Fair enough.
So he definitely has more flash than Gasol.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, no Gasol. Just yeah, he's first off terrible that he's not on the top 75. Deserves it way more than Anthony Davis. What does Anthony Davis have over him? Pau Gasol
Yeah.
has 4 All NBA selections, 6 All-Stars, 2 titles. Neither one of them have an MVP. Neither one of them was the best player on a title team. He's currently 21st in blocks, 28th in rebounds, 42nd in
Hold on.
scoring,
Let me hold
129th in assists.
on.
What's up?
My bad. Let me say this. I feel as though Anthony Davis could have been considered the best on that championship team, though. I've heard this. I've never heard Powell being anything other than the number two to Kobe when they were winning championships. And that's not even to say he didn't help Kobe out. That's not to say he didn't take over at times where Kobe couldn't pull it together. But that's just it wasn't as close. You feel me? The one and two. You feel me? It was with Anthony Davis and LeBron. That's that year that they won. It wasn't as clear cut that LeBron was the better player on that team. He was the more experienced. He was the more, I guess, why he was the wiser player. But that doesn't necessarily equate to being the better player. Yeah,
Okay, so a couple things on that. One, and I'm gonna pull it up in a minute. Then you haven't been listening because Pau Gasol. They say that Kobe they robbed Pau Gasol of the Finals MVP in 2010. So that's been an ongoing thing now for almost 15 years. And I'm gonna pull up the numbers to prove my point on that. But first, I wanted to get to the LeBron Anthony Davis thing. So here's what happened. Anthony Davis and LeBron, and I forget how many games through the first like 4 games played pretty evenly. And then Anthony Davis dramatically fell off the last 2. Or maybe it's the last one or something like that. But and I can look those numbers up in a second. But basically it's like this. Okay, LeBron averaged 30 in the series. Anthony Davis averaged 25. LeBron averaged 12 rebounds. Anthony Davis averaged 11. LeBron averaged 9 assists. Anthony Davis averaged 3. LeBron averaged 1.2 steals. Anthony Davis averaged 1.3. Anthony Davis got 2.0 blocks. LeBron got zero point 0.5. LeBron shot 59 from the field. Anthony Davis shot 57. They both shot 42 from the 3-point line. So where would necessarily and Anthony Davis killed him in free throw shooting, 94 to 67. So LeBron's got him in points, rebounds. With Davis should have assists by like 3 times. They're basically the same in steals. Anthony Davis does have blocks, but it's not a killer block thing for him, 2 a game. And then LeBron's got him in field goal, shooting percentage is 0.004 to Anthony Davis, and then free throw percentage. So I don't think Anthony Davis dominating him in free throw percentage gives him the MVP.
It was the dumb. It was when Anthony Davis was out there. It was no controlling him for the most part. It's kind of like the whole how I was describing Giannis. When Anthony Davis wanted to take over, when Anthony Davis is out there being aggressive, there's really no answer for him. Um, LeBron is getting a little older, so players have kind of figured out a little bit what to do with LeBron. That's not to say LeBron wasn't out there killing. What I am saying though is Anthony Davis was shocking people at that point in time with the way he was playing. Whereas LeBron, this is more of the same. This is more of what you're used to. So it's looking more so like a passing of the torch on that team.
But that's what I'm saying, though. I mean, and even if it looked like that, then that's when perception doesn't meet performance. It's just not telling the real story. LeBron's getting you 30 at 60%, and Anthony Davis is getting you 25 at 57, which is great. It's just not 30 at 60. And
Hmm.
then, not to mention, with LeBron getting you more boards, he's getting you more assists. It's just, no, like it just doesn't compare like at all. So yeah, that's why like when I hear people say that, I was like, did you guys not watch what I watched? Because like I watched it and then I was looking at the numbers as well, and like they were playing pretty even through, like I said, the first like 4 games, and then when we got to the last like couple, yeah, it was just like Davis fell off and
Did he? But did
LeBron
he?
didn't.
Was he not injured? I thought it was something going on. I thought it was something plaguing him during that finals. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought it was something that was going on.
No, I don't.
Anyway, regardless though, fair point though.
But
I watched. I don't know. I did see Powell take over some games. I don't know that I necessarily felt like Powell should have won MVP over Kobe though. But
why
I
is
don't
that?
determine things. Why is what? Why don't I feel that way?
Yeah.
I don't feel as though Powell necessarily outplayed Kobe. Like I don't feel it. Well, let me say this. I don't feel as though Powell was the best player during the finals. I still feel like it was Kobe.
Yeah, see, I just thought Powell, he was, by far the most like efficient. That Kobe scored, more than him by about like 10 points, but it was like basically Kobe shot the ball 73 more times for 70 more points. It's crazy. So he was literally like point 0.9 per shot, which is terrible. You know
But
what I mean?
Kobe,
You want to, huh?
I was gonna say Kobe forces shots though at times. Powell, he didn't
Hey, that's what
necessarily have to force shots. That's not his style of play. When you're forcing shots, you're gonna miss. So I get, Powell's gonna be more efficient, and I get that's what you look for. But at the same time, it's like when somebody is a volume shooter, especially the type of shots Kobe is taking, it's not like Kobe's just taking one-on-one shots. Kobe's taking wild shots with like three people on him. So,
No, I agree with you,
you don't
but
brick
that's what I'm
him.
saying. That's what I'm saying. If he didn't force the shots and he just went to Powell, then Powell's scoring numbers would look a lot better. Kobe's wouldn't look so inflated, but then again, his shooting percentage would go way up. So it's a chain reaction. But yeah, that's just why it was just Kobe's like terrible inefficiency that series is the reason why people were saying Powell should have got it. Um, but yeah, so Powell has 20,000 points, 11,000 rebounds, 3,900 assists, and like 1,900 blocks. And that's like Duncan, Garnett, and Powell, I think, are the only people that, unless I'm missing somebody, but there's only like a couple people with those numbers, all time numbers. So when you factor in, he's a 2-time champ. If you ever listen to Kobe talk, Kobe just
Needed
if
him.
like if Kobe was around when they picked 75 players and he wasn't on it, Kobe would have been
He
like
was lost.
baffled. Yeah, like he would have been like, that's no, that's bullshit. So yeah, I mean, he always was talking about how amazing that dude was, how he understands the game so well, how he's a basketball genius, and all that. So yeah, so Pau Gasol is just awesome. And if you watch the eye test, like I said, he puts up decent stats, 19 and 11 or whatever, but it's is if you watch it, it's just like a beautiful way he plays, and you just tell he really understands the game. So yeah, so I got Pow at 9. That's who you missed. But
Okay.
on that note, we are out. We are over time. So please check us tomorrow. Please like, subscribe. Thank you so much. Till then,